UFO sightings have definitely been more abundant since the turn of the 20th century, but there have been many reported sightings before. But with little or no supposed photographic proof, they are often forgotten about and left to the history books. Here are the tales behind 5 UFO sightings that predate the 20th century. At 9 p.m. on a summer's evening in 1790, a German man, one of the first German settlers in Schoharie County, New York, said that he had witnessed a bright shining light in the night sky as he played his fiddle, a light that he said outshone the light of day. He recalled that as it got closer to him, the long metallic shape of the object came into view. He said it travelled by him at a distance of 250 yards and it was about 65 feet off the ground. He described it as a meteor, but then went on to say that it looked long and serpent-like, but thick like the trunk of a tree. He stated that it travelled at great speed, staying at the same height from the ground, but hovering up as the terrain rose into hills and down again as the land dipped. For just over a mile, the man said he had sight of the mysterious craft, but lost sight of it after it suddenly rose into the air and disappeared beyond a tree-covered hill. He said the aircraft was about 300 feet in length, and the smell it left behind was said to be like burning tar, a smell that hung in the air for at least a day afterwards. The German settler retold his story on the 23rd of August 1823 in the town of Carlisle, where it was officially recorded into New York history. A 16th century journalist by the name of Samuel Coccaius reported that on August 7, 1566, the people of Basel, Switzerland, were witness to a mass of unidentified black spherical objects in the sky that appeared to be engaged in some kind of battle, flying towards the sun but swerving along the way and crashing into one another, then turning a fiery red colour before disappearing or disintegrating. The incident is said to have lasted for several hours before the people of Basel were left in bemusement at what they had witnessed. Did an aerial battle involving several alien craft take place over Basel that day, or was it a misguided tale of a 16th century meteor storm? There's also a theory that the spectacle was in fact a group of World War II planes in a dogfight, which appeared 400 years in the past due to a time slip. Whatever theory you believe, you can see the event depicted here in this 1566 wood carving by the reporting writer. It was also written about in a 1958 edition of A Modern Myth, Things Seen in the Skies, by psychiatrist and author Carl Gustav Jung. An ancient document allegedly tells the tale of a Japanese fisherman who caught sight of a disc-shaped object in the skies of the Kii Province on October 27, 1180. The man first sighted the UFO coming from the direction of Mount Nyogadaki, heading northeast, but it suddenly changed direction and sped off over the horizon, leaving nothing but a bright trail of lights in its wake. How he described the object roughly translates as an earthenware vessel. The man was obviously referring to a plate-like shape, much like the flying saucer description we've all become familiar with today. The term was coined in 1947 by the American press after a reporter spoke to American aviator Kenneth Arnold about the famous encounter he had with a group of apparent alien spacecraft that same year. The Japanese case of 1180 was not the only time a UFO had been referred to as a flying saucer prior to 1947. In January of 1878, a Texan farmer described a large dark object he had seen in the sky as a large saucer. This being said, it seems the Japanese can fairly claim the earliest reference to a UFO as flying earthenware. There were a number of sighted UFO cases in the 19th century. This was when the world really began to sit up and pay attention to the phenomenon. One of the most famous cases was written about in the St. Louis Democrat on October 19, 1865, and the same article appeared 2 weeks later in the Cincinnati Commercial. The account came from a fur trapper from the US state of Montana. His name was James Lumley, and he claimed to have seen an unidentified flying craft pass over his head and crash into a forest in the Cadote Pass, part of the Rocky Mountains. He described it as a bright luminous body in the heavens, which was clearly visible for about 5 seconds. He said the aircraft then exploded in mid-air, and when it crashed down, he recalled a feeling of a sudden rush of wind emanating from the forest, along with a sound like a tornado. The story was soon printed by other newspapers, and the case was one of the first to make big news around the world, but especially in the US. The following day, Lumley walked in the direction of where the UFO had touched down. He said he found a large stone lodged into the side of a mountain, but what was unusual about the stone was that it had shards of glass in it, and it appeared to have strange hieroglyphics etched into it as if written by human hands. Now, I'm not against the theory of an alien spacecraft, but I like to consider other possibilities too. If this case is based on fact, it does sound like it could be a meteor which crashed into the Rocky Mountains that day. But even if that was so, where did the hieroglyphics come from, and were they made by human hands? Maybe the rock had been in the mountain for centuries and were left there by a long-dead civilization. Even the original newspaper article favoured the theory of a meteor over alien life forms. A professor by the name of A.C. Carnes from Tennessee's Burritt College reported the sighting of a large bright object in the morning sky over the campus. This object was joined by another smaller light that hovered a while before vanishing. The larger shape then became elongated and became parallel with the horizon before it too shrank in size. The smaller object then reappeared, and the two objects continued to hover over the Tennessee landscape while they both fluctuated in size over the space of about 30 minutes. The event, which took place on June 1, 1853, was witnessed by a number of students and lecturers, none of whom could offer an explanation. That is, until Carnes, the professor who reported the incident, speculated that the strange morning light show was caused by moisture in the atmosphere. I hope you enjoyed my first UFO-based video. Stay tuned and subscribed for more in the future, as well as all the other subjects I cover.